introduction you just watched, I read the book Weapons of Math Destruction by Cathy O'Neil. In this video, I will be highlighting some of the main points of the book and what I took away from it, as well as what I think we all should take away from it and kind of the purpose of the book as Cathy O'Neil wrote it. And without further ado, let's get started. What is a model? A model is an abstract representation of some process. It takes what we know and uses it to predict responses in various situations. Models tell us what to expect and they guide our decisions. When we make models, we make choices about what is important enough to include, simplifying the word into a version that can be easily understood and from which we can infer facts and actions. Models are not inherently bad. What is a weapon of math destruction? Weapons of math destruction, or WMDs, as O'Neil and as I will refer to them, are a specific kind of model, a toxic kind. They are math-powered applications that power the data economy based on choices made by fallible human beings. Sometimes they are created with good intentions. Nevertheless, many of these models encode human prejudice, misunderstanding, bias into the software systems that increasingly manage our lives. They are always opaque and invisible to all but the creators of their domain, which are mathematicians and computer scientists. Their verdicts, even when wrong or harmful, are beyond dispute or appeal. No one ever questions them, but always they tend to punish the poor and oppressed in our society while making the rich richer. Where are WMDs found? WMDs are found in school systems, prison systems, college applications, job applications, online advertising, credit scores, insurance companies, housing markets, police task force, and an uncountable number of other in all aspects of our lives. Why do weapons of math destruction matter? Why did Cathy O'Neil dedicate an entire book to them? To say they rule our lives is an understatement. They are our lives. We are put in as pieces of data and spit back out into a predefined class system. Whether placed into the fortunate few or thrown back into the treacherous depths of a never-ending poverty cycle that only furthers the notion of poverty by the inability to let anyone out of the system. People of color, people who have disabilities, people who identify as LGBTQ, women, and all other groups of people who face normal discrimination are negatively affected by WMDs. Promising efficiency and fairness, WMDs distort higher education, drive up debt, spur mass incarceration, and pummel the poor at nearly every juncture. Furthermore, they undermine the democracy of America. How do weapons of math destruction relate to our class? Information science is about helping organizations make better, more informed decisions. In SLIS 201, we're learning how to analyze data, implement plans, manage all the variables, and lead organizations to make their decisions. As information scientists, WMDs are an enemy. We seek true information, correct data, to make our decisions, and not the biased and discriminatory data that WMDs produce. The problem with trying to dismantle these systems is that they feed off of each other. Poor people are more likely to have bad credit and live in high-crime neighborhoods surrounded by other poor people. Once the dark universe of WMDs digests that data, it showers them with predatory ads for subprime loans or for-profit schools. It sends more police to arrest them, and when they're convicted, it sentences them to longer terms. This data feeds into other WMDs, which score the same people as high risks or easy targets and proceeds to block them from jobs while jacking up their rates for mortgages, car loans, and every kind of insurance imaginable. This drives their credit rating down further, creating nothing less than a death spiral of modeling. Being poor in a world of WMDs is dangerous and expensive. As information scientists, I believe it is our job to ensure we do not let biased information get in the hands of these systems. I believe we must fight for equality of all people and for the termination of WMDs, so they cannot use their information to harm our society any longer. How do WMDs affect me? As an upper middle class white female, I am out of the scope of the negative effects of most WMDs. In fact, I probably reap most of the benefits. I'll admit that before reading this book, I had zero knowledge of these weapons of math destruction and did not even know what the term big data was referring to. So how do WMDs affect me, you ask? As a citizen of the United States, it affects me because it negatively impacts my fellow citizens by pressures they have zero control over, and it is not ethical. As a person, it affects me because I have vowed to stand up against injustice and work towards what is right for our nation and for the people of our nation. As an information scientist, it affects me because my job is to help people make better informed decisions. These decisions should not be impacted by WMDs because WMDs result in biased and discriminatory decisions. Data scientists should not continue the act of creating WMDs. How can we stop WMDs? As previously mentioned, WMDs are hard to stop because they constantly feed off of each other, an endless and downwards chain. So how do we start to regulate these mathematical models that run more and more of our lives? We could start with the modelers. Require data scientists to pledge an oath that focuses on the possible misuses and misinterpretations of their models. To eliminate WMDs, we must advance beyond just establishing good practices as data scientists. Our laws need to change too. We must regulate WMDs to not value revenue, profit, or general cash money over democracy, fairness, equality, and the general decent treatment of fellow human beings. Yes, fellow humans. We must further adjust WMDs to eliminate bias and discrimination once they are discovered.